we call our ancestors, times are warring. When we call our ancestors, stars start forming. When we call our ancestors, tribes are mourning. When we call our ancestors, signs and warnings. Still see the signs through the sun, stars, and the moon. Chanting out, oh, Badala, chanting out, oh, gun, chanting out, Shango, chanting out, ocean. Smoke a bag, a book, whatever to be in tune. Prayers going up that will open you up like shrooms. Nothing but bottles of booze, like we opened a saloon. And door like a bride to a groom. Incenses and sage light up the room, bringing life to a tomb. When we call our ancestors, times of war. When we call our ancestors, stars start forming. When we call our ancestors, tribes in mourning. When we call our ancestors, signs and warnings. May the day rise up like Lazarus, Phoenix out of the smoke like two involved. But they don't know the half about my folks. Forces so mysterious and miraculous. Got Rosa Parks from the back of that bus. Magic powers in that bag of dust trust. Most of the stuff we call drugs today is just a gateway to open you up. Alcohol in heaven is a ghoul, some kind of spirit. Liquor stores today, no coincidence. Hands is wine and spirits. When we call our
my wake and bake on. This is wake and bake on for the day.
when we call our ancestors, stars start forming. When we call our ancestors, tribes are mourning. When we call our ancestors,
Second shin ride rotating, you heard? Gonna start it off right, man. Yeah. You already know it's the Galactic More Illitude I am. We back cracking spells. Shout out to all the Galactic Guardians, 720 degrees. Shout out to the whole URO, everybody living in the universal right order. Shout out to the House of Consciousness Connecticut chapter. This message being brought to you by K.O.R TV, Kingdom of Righteousness TV. The show was called Wake Up Sheeple. Y'all already know how I do. We about to jump right into the demonstration. I say to all the great prophets, ancestors, aiders, messiahs, messengers who came before, making the platform available so we could be here today, giving you this message. I say, jumping right into the demo. Jumping right into the demo on this galactic glorious day of Frigidaire energy, oceanic Venus love that we spreading. We're going to jump right in. You heard? To the Gregorian math of things, extreme supreme mathematics, and get to it. Begin to embark on this demo today. Only day, we relaxing, kicking back in. Shout out to everybody, 10 toes down. We above ground. So we're gonna begin to embark and do the math of things as we know, according to the Gregorian frequency calendar of things, we see that it's March 27th, 2026. March, we're gonna get on that as soon as we do the math. But as you know, you do the math of things, you're gonna come up with the number deuce. You heard? 22. You feel me? Which is the magical number. The double numbers is always magical. So expect some glorious things to go down today, right? But with that being said, 2 plus 2 get you 4. When you the wisest of the wisest, you got the wisest dome. You add that up, you get the 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Wisdom plus wisdom gonna get you culture freedom. You know what I'm saying? All being born to culture freedom. So overstand, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're looking at the numeric frequency of culture freedom, culture is your way of life. You know what I'm saying? The way that you live in, how you live. You feel me? And then you got the freedom. Your dome got to be free. You know what I'm saying? unmolested. You heard? To have a free dome, right? You want that freedom. A kingdom, you want your kingdom to be free, your king's dome to be free, what you can to be free, right? So, because king mean king. But what we're talking about today is March, right? The month that we get. And when you think about March, you never looked at it to see, the grammatical spell that we under to see how they formed this word March. Why it's even called March? Okay. What's the point of it? So when you're looking at the word and you do word splice and you splice the M off, you see there's a word in there. Also, you see Mar too, you know what I'm saying? Or Mark. But if you take the M off, you feel me, you get the word arc. You dig what I'm saying? You get the word arc. What is the arc? You feel me? We talking about a curve, shape, bend to a point, and all this other shit and all that. So it do mean to be curved, right? Okay, that's one way you could look at it. But then when you start looking into the word, it mean to be mischievous. So to be an arc, like an arc nemesis. Okay, it means to have mischievous demeanor, right? To be a chief. That's what the word arc means. Okay, it also means to be superior. All right. It means to be superior. It means principle of things. You feel me? To arc. Okay. So now when you look at the word and you see the M in front of it, you think about the M and you think about its origin and what when the first time this M ever was invented, who made it up, whatever it means. It go back to ancient Kemet. You feel what I'm saying? Where they figured out, these are the first people to ever write this type of lettering down or symbol, because letters are symbols. Always remember, letters are symbols. They're not really just letters. So it's a form of magic within that. So they form what you call ideographs. So the ideographic form of the letter M, you know what I'm saying? It represented water. Okay? It represented water. You dig what I'm saying? So we talking about the superior rulers over the water in March. You feel what I'm saying? Which is spring. In the spring, you talking about a spring of water bursting. All right. So we talking about what's going on in the current, because this is the real New Year's, and we talking about what's going on in the current. The current mean the now, but also it mean the galactic sea of things. The shit we call the sea of space, cosmic ocean. Overstand? That has a relationship down here on this terrain, because this shit is 80% water where we at. So are you not born in water, mooring through the seven stages of your mother's stomach, developing through the seven stages in your mother's womb? Huh? Ain't that what's going on? Then you have to be born in water or birthed in water, the primal waters of your mother's womb, huh? Of your mama, the laws of the sea, the galactic mother, your mama. Then you come from your mama, birthed in water, at a dock where the dock had the oar and oared you went into the harbor, which was the hospital, the boat on land to show hospitality, huh? Indeed, you was birthed or gave, what I'm saying? Your mother gave birth, birth, or when you was birthed like a ship. Because these are the shipping wars that we going through. Why you think Trump and them over there at that shit over there, the Hamas Strait shit and all of that with the ships? It's about shipping boats back and forth with product and all. So it's still shipping wars, even on a physical level, all the way back to the galactic level. Because when you came in this motherfucker, you were shipped into this bitch. Okay? You were shipped in. So it's a shipping war. People are fighting over the merchandise that's coming in the planet. Okay, and this is why they had that certificate and manifesto ready for your ass when your mother signed that birth certificate and gave you up for adoption, not knowing you was unknowingly signing, your signature of nature, giving up your birthrights, as you are BERTH, shipping as the ship births at a dock. BERTH, your mother gave birth to the dock. You know what I'm saying? BIRTH, and that is the day you were born. So we call it your birthday. BEARTH, Earth, be Earth. The day for you to be on Earth Day in the current now. And so you see how it's a shipping war? It's about ships and wars in this current script of life that we're living in the now. And understand you are the currency made out of the motherfucking chemical, electromagnetic, goddamn substance and things that you're made of, your matter and your makeup, your genetic makeup. You made out of chemicals and electromagnetism, okay, which holds memory, the current, the water. We're talking about the flow of things. When we're talking about currency, the way things been flowing right now. And if you take a look at the life of everything going on right now, we're gonna start shit at a point. If you really want to get technical, we can go back to the when this war started. Okay, we can start right there. Let's have a little starting point of a timeline to just take a look around ourselves, because you know the Lord to be God is one who knows himself well and the things around him. So it's good to be spiritual and dive in and get into all the bookie shit, but at the same time, you still got people what's going on around you too and master all that shit too. You heard? So looking at it from that lens and that standpoint of view, you know, there's a lot going on in the current. There's a lot going on in the current, right? So when you think about the war, that shit started on February 28th, right? They launched this little war shit and all that. Who's a part of it? U.S., Israel, and Iran. These are the three people that's a part of this current little war. That number three, the magic number. Hmm. But check it, right? So overstand it all could be fake beef, etc. All this other shit. They could be playing the game to get the people and shift the people in the certain state status. Because state means status, and we talking about state of affairs across the board of the world globally, not just your state in California and your state in that da da da. So when you born and they say you in the state of da da da, that means the state means the state of affairs when they use the word state legally. They're talking about globally. They're not just talking about where the fuck you born at in that little state and all that shit. Nah. Although they placing you in that state of mind and saying you're in Denver or whatever the fuck, you know, the state that they putting you in, Colorado or whatever. You know what I mean? The state of Colorado. You in the state of California. You in the state of New York. You in the New York. You dig what I'm saying? California, Khalifa. You in the state of the Khalifa tribe. That's why it's 109 motherfucking tribal motherfuckers still over there in that geographic, right? But anyway, going back into what's going on right now, when you think about it, the war started on February 28th, which is what? The last day of the goddamn Black History Month. Why you had to do it on the last day of Black History Month? You know, what made these niggas pick Black History Month on the last day to do the shit? Because you couldn't do it on the niggas' watch, probably, or something. Spiritually, they probably couldn't make certain moves until, you know, that month went by. Because they wanted to do it during the time of March because the M also represented a shift in consciousness spiritually. That's what the letter M also stands for. And then you know it means culture freedom because if you think about it, M is the 13th letter. So 1 plus 3 get 4. So you know what I'm saying? A way of life, a culture being pushed on motherfuckers, you feel me? The free domes, but they trying to take everybody and put it into a oneness, you feel me? So it's still like a shift, a spiritual shift is going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you see it's dealing with consciousness where it says the M is basically like you recognize that you're not your thoughts. Anytime you see a symbol of an M back in certain spiritual times and shit, when we seen that symbol, it represented not knowing that you are not your thoughts. And so the Messiah says, take no thought with you. Messiah with an M on the front says, take no thought with you. Overstand all that is interwoven and connected because life is always interwoven, connected, and synchronized if you pay attention, if you're looking at it from that lens. You know what I'm saying? You have to become an observer in order to see it that way, though. You can't just be looking out your two eyes, that shit. You feel me? And all that. You got to look into things. You know what I'm saying? Doing an examination of things, okay? Digging in. So, overstand, they started this shit on March. They came in on March to be superior. A lot, you know what I'm saying? Springing forth, New Year's, new springing forth, new shit, the new world order. You heard? So they come in like that, right, on March, because I told y'all it's about the banking systems and overstand out of the whatever 28 banking shits across the planet or 30 something banking shits across the planet, banking companies and shit, the Rothschilds own all of them except for seven of them or nine of them or some shit like that, right? And so on this list, uh, 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 seven of the banks is over there in the Middle East that they don't own. The Rothschilds don't own seven of the banks that's in the Middle East out of the nine. The other two was Venezuela. I forgot who the last one was, but they just went and got the Venezuela shit. This was a plan they constructed with the CIA back when George Bush Sr. was in the shit, you know, working for the CIA and all. This was a plan that they had to get all the banks. It was called the 5 point something. I forgot what they called, but the CIA had created that drug ring. That's why they was over there getting the drugs and doing all that with George Bush. So then the drug shit was heavy because they was trying to create their own banking system through drug money. You know what I'm saying? And what the CIA was, they was hustling. They was the illest drug motherfuckers on the planet. Nobody sold more drugs than they did, basically. And so what they did was they built the mega system. Then they went to the United Nations and shit, and they told the United Nations, we gonna start putting the shit on the trade shit. Like we gonna lock all of that shit down. So they was getting that shit, doing that shit worldwide. The same plan that they had for America, the CIA used that same plan worldwide through the United Nations. You know what I'm saying? All through the order of Jesuits that work with the Vatican. Long story short, you feel me? Because George Bush was knighted. You dig what I'm saying? To do all of these type of things. So anyway, so now the drug trade go down and they got their own banking system. So they just wanted to get the rest of the world on board with the rest of the banking shit. The Rothschilds need everybody to be a part of their banking system so they can do the new world order shit, right? Because they trying to basically control the whole print pressure. That's why I just seen on the news Donald Trump name now is going to be on the sale of the dollars and shit like that because that's a contract. Anytime you see a sale with a signature, you know that's a contract. So on the bill, Donald Trump name's supposed to be going on there somehow and all of that. So it's some type of contract now agreement what was going on in this new world order, obviously. You dig what I'm saying? So in the current, right? In the now. So when we think about what's going on, after they had started the war, on that first day they started the war, they blew up a motherfucking spiritual leader. You know what I'm saying? The Ayatollah dude, what's his fucking name? Ali Khamenei, the Khamenei cat, right? So I mean, and his family, the kids, all kind of shit got blown up that day, right? So when you put that into a sense, a spiritual leader, blah, somebody of that significance, enlightened aura, where a lot of minds, collective minds, feel some, way towards this person, it's gonna be some repercussions with that, right? So boom, they killed the spiritual leader, dude, February 28th. Now we go to March 10th. This is just my few things I just picked that was just going on in the current. I'm quite sure there's a thousand other fucking things going on. You know what I'm saying? Sparked off since March. But these things stood out to me. Then the motherfucking volcano on March 10th in Hawaii shit and all of that. Now the tie-in with the Hawaii shit is kind of deep too, right? Because it was a volcano, you know what I'm saying, in Hawaii, whatever, crazy magnitude, boom, 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 boom. But what I come to find out what the Hawaii shit is that basically it's supposed to be sacred land, blah, blah, blah. They kind of still indigenous, holding on to their roots and blah, blah, blah. So it's real sacred over there. But what's been happening is the wealthy, rich motherfucker, the billionaire Illuminati type niggas been buying that sacred land up. Now, for what reasons? It may be portals, it may be all kind of shit, whatever niggas communicating with dolphins. I don't know what the fuck going on over there, but they want that land. Rich motherfuckers want to buy it. So what I went to go do was I was studying the media shit, like who owned the media shit, because we all know that the Jews motherfuckers own the media. So I was studying media and happened to stumble upon this information that motherfucking this dude named David Ellis, right, who was the son of somebody named Larry Ellis, who was the sixth richest man in the fucking world. Larry Ellis is the sixth richest man in the fucking world. Basically, he owns he worth like 393 billion. 393 billion. That's what the dude Larry Ellis is worth. So basically, the dude owns 98% of the land Lana or Lana in Hawaii. So them rich motherfuckers, the sixth richest man in the world, they own a lot of that shit in Hawaii. Motherfuckers buying up that shit and all of that. So is it a curse that they did that? You know what I'm saying? Going over there, letting the devil motherfuckers come over there, buy this shit up and doing all some shit. For whatever reason they need that island, they need the island. Somebody trying to own everything, New World Order shit, right? So did they agree to the New World Order shit and now they getting fucked over? So the volcano erupts, boom, 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 boom. Did the Ayatollah nigga, you know what I'm saying, send that shit through a spiritual, you know what I'm saying, bang, 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 or whatever the fuck's going on with that, right? So we get this volcano shit. Boom. Like I told you, Paramount and Skydance Corporation combined, right? That's the father. The father owned the Paramount Jew shit because he's a Jew. So I went into their whole history and all that shit, found out the father basically, like I said, was Larry Ellis, worth his 39 billion and all that, owned 98% of some Hawaiian islands. He was from New York. His mother name was Florence Spellman. His mother name was Florence Spellman, right? She was the Jewish side. His father was an Italian. So we talking about the mob, the mafia, Giuseppe Manzini, you know what I'm saying? And all that, who gave the permission to Albert Pike to start the shit over here and all of that type of shit. You feel what I'm saying? If you really follow the shit. But anyway, so boom, the father dude was up and all that because he was an air pilot. You know what I'm saying? He flew planes and all that type of shit, a pilot, an army air pilot at that. When the Larry Ellis was born, he caught pneumonia at 9 months, basically, type shit. The mother and them gave him to her aunt or sister and her brother or whatever. He went to got adopted by his uncle and his aunt, basically, right? And they was already up too, because the uncle on that side of the family, whoever the uncle was, he was up selling houses and all this other shit, basically, like. So they had bread. It wasn't like the dude, Larry Ellis, always been around bread and all that type of shit. Like I said, being Jewish. Boom, 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 boom. So I found out that they were Jews that run the media. That was the whole point. The Paramount and the Skydance Corporation and them do run the Jews, but they do own the Hawaiian Islands also and all that other shit too. So the Larry Ellis ain't see his parents, his mother Spellman and all them till like 48 years later, blah, 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 and all this other crazy shit. Right? So that's just one to grow on when it comes to the whole Hawaii connection. You know what I'm saying? And that on March 10th happened in that volcano because the higher ups is, pushing a new world order, but their plans are still, shit's happening that's trying to fuck their plans up. Or did they send something to fuck the island up so they could rebuild it and do some other shit? You never fucking know. You got to pay attention to all that. So, boom, going on, right? March 16th, there was the motherfucking tornado in Maryland, right? Man, Maryland. You know, I dig what I'm saying over there. Boom, boom, boom. It was a tornado that was kind of deep, fucked a lot of shit up. Boom, 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 boom. Right now, if you do the one to all that, you know about Maryland, you know about how sacred that was, you know what type of slave shit went on over there and all of that, and how the colonists did that shit dirty and blah, blah, blah. You know the tie-in to the motherfucking higher ups in Maryland, right? You gotta know what family of the wealthy motherfuckers is running that side of the shit. You dig what I'm saying? Because remember, families run the world, and family is the illest form of technology. So you got to understand what families is basically running that shit over there, right? But they had a motherfucking tornado come through there. So then on fucking the 20th, right? What day was that? Yeah, the 20th, the goddamn solar flares. Now we gotta be mindful that the solar flares happened on the 20th. You dig what I'm saying? So by the 22nd, all the way to the 22nd, we was feeling the effects. It happened earlier than that from the sun, but it hit us on the 20th and the 22nd. The impact from the solar flares, which was basically measured at a goddamn G3 geomagnetic storm. It was a G3 magnetic storm. It go up to like 5. So we was facing like a G3 shit. You know what I'm saying? We just got hit with a G3 storm from the sun. And that's why it's a lot of goddamn debris of like asteroids and all kind of shit falling from the sky because that storm just happened too, right? Bingity bong, right? Okay. So we're talking about the meteors, right? Meteors coming in for out of space, right? And meti or meta mean beyond, right? The ores coming from beyond. You feel what I'm saying? Let's take out the square. Or mean to square you off, right? So the shit from out of the square, because remember, we supposed to be boxed in and squared off by Saturn and the moon, ETC, and all of that being boxed in by Lucifer and Satan. So with that being said, over dig, the meteors is coming in from out, bringing in gases, blah, 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 that may have impressions on all different people, causing all type of superhuman other phenomenons and different shit on the planet when it enters in the planet. So we got to be mindful of those things happening as well, right? But then you get to March 25th, we had that 7.5 magnitude earthquake. That was just like 2 days ago. A motherfucking earthquake that shook the Pacific up. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a lot going on in these shipping wars right now, especially in the current now. You dig what I'm saying? In March, which we know is a shift of consciousness going on, is springing forth a lot of new bullshit. It means to be the chief. You see who's doing shit. I told you this man just signed his name on some money. You know what I'm saying? The brother, the world ruler. You know what I'm saying? Which Sedano means world ruler. Just signed his name on money as the chief. You dig what I'm saying? The superior, you heard, and they curbing everybody right now, trying to motherfucking box shit in and square shit off. And people not really understanding what's going on in the current. And you are the currency, right? And like I said, you made of these chemicals, you know what I'm saying? These minerals and everything outside of yourself is inside of you. So you got gold in you. You got motherfucking copper in you. You got silver and all that shit in you. And remember, we always looked at life like, everything whirled off from the sun. That's how we say this creation started, and that's how we see it, right? Everything coming off from the sun, and sun being the source, right? Sun being the foundation, right? So if everything came from the sun, everything got to return to the sun. Everything's trying to get back to the source. When you separate water, water trying to get back to the source, right? Just like everything in life, you know what I'm saying? You trying to get back to the source. That's why we stand up erect and stand up finally and can stand up straight, blah, 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 because we trying to get back to the source in this script, in this current now. You heard what I'm saying? So everything's deriving to get back to the source. When you breathe in this breath, when you breathe your last breath, it go back to the gas source. You heard? You turn back into vapors. You dig what I'm saying? From the gas to the liquid to the solid. You heard? So you go back to that in the backwards format. You feel what I'm saying? And so everything's trying to get back to the source. The trees are growing upward. You feel me? Everything's growing towards the sun. The planets whirled off from the sun, and now they're coming back into the sun to crash into that motherfucker. You heard? Everything's going back to the sun. You dig what I'm saying? And so understand the sun is yellow, and the sun represents the gold aspect. You feel what I'm saying? The gold precious metals happen to be formed in gold, yellow like the sun. You know what I'm saying? Shining. You heard what I'm saying? So you got gold in you that's trying to return back to gold. You dig what I'm saying? You got gold inside your body that's trying to go back to gold. That's why sometimes people fuck with people, right? Because you got elements in your bodies that's trying to get back to these certain elements. So chemically, you could be in a relationship with somebody, but you might not be in a relationship mentally. But that's only because the body chemicals inside of you are trying to connect with those other chemicals in that other person. It's a union between the chemicals, the mercury and all that shit in that body trying to get with that other body, the gold in that body trying to connect with the gold in that body. So y'all might have a physical or chemical attraction in that sense, but you don't have the spiritual and mental and all that other shit because you didn't take the time to realize that the body has that and everything's trying to go back to self. Everything's trying to come together and be one again. You know what I'm saying? And so you got people that's trying to stop that. You know what I'm saying? Rather that be mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, blah, blah, blah. They don't want that one mind collectivity going on. You know what I'm saying? They want minds to be in fear. If they do want one mind, they want it to be shift to a certain direction. You know what I'm saying? Because they understand that consciousness kind of manifests all the stuff that's going on. You know what I'm saying? In your subconscious. So they have to deeply get rooted into your subconscious to manifest all the things that they want so the shit could play out the way that it's playing in the current now. You dig what I'm saying? So overstand, be mindful of what's been going down on the planet in the current now. Keep an eye out for the hurricanes and all of that because we done had these type of storms from the sun, the G3 joints and all that. The hurricanes are predicted to be motherfucking basically 60% above average of normal. You feel me? It's supposed to be predicted to be 60% above average over normal. Normal hurricanes is 100-mile winds and shit like that. So we talking about above average. You know what I mean? We talking about maybe 140 winds and shit like that coming through Florida, coming through the Carolinas and shit like that. So those areas got to be careful. Louisiana, Texas as well. Those places may be affected by what's coming. Y'all got to start looking ahead, man. You know what I'm saying and all that because you got the ability to do so. You know what I'm saying? Remember, ability was one of the things that we had talked about yesterday. You understand what I'm saying? And ability is important. You need to have the ability to be able to do stuff. You know what I'm saying? What part of your sovereignty, part of you being sovereign, you need to be have the ability. You know what I'm saying? In order to exercise what you call rights. You feel what I'm saying? Your divine rights to think how you want to think. You don't got to think chaotic. You don't have to think in fear. You don't have to think that this shit about to kill you. Because the more you think like that, the more you pulling that shit in magnetically. You heard? So you got to start thinking on a different frequency. I told you it's time to shift consciousness and spring forth a new way to think because there's some people that's adverse to what you got going on. There's advert forces. Everybody's not in agreement to what you want. There's motherfuckers that hate you just because they hate you. And you got to be, you know what I'm saying, willing to fight because, like I said, it's shipping wars. You've been shipped into this shit already as an outlaw. You know what I'm saying? You was basically somebody who was recognized as lost at sea when you first came out your mother womb. When you moored out the pussy, you was claimed to be lost at sea to the doctors and they made you sign that paperwork and put you under them old Masonic laws. You got hit with the old Masonic laws, 1 foot on the land, 1 foot on the sea by your mama. You feel me? The Marine Admiral, Maritime, you know what I'm saying? Laws or acts, you know what I'm saying? That you was hit with by your mama. You know what I'm saying? 1 foot on the land, 1 foot on the sea is a Bible verse where they talk about an angel having 1 foot on the land, 1 foot on the sea. That's basically saying you run the land, the laws of the land, and you run the laws of the land of the land. I mean the sea, right? The laws of the land is what we're talking about: civil jurisdiction over the land. Who run the motherfucking lands? By what? By civil jurisdiction. So you got to tap into those two things and tap into the laws of the sea because Great Britain and them basically came through and they wanted to smash the laws of the sea. So now you got to say who the fuck is Great Britain? What is that? What's the origin of that? You say, oh, okay, I find out that goddamn England, you know what I'm saying, linked up with goddamn Wales and Ireland and all them motherfuckers made their own little union and said we gonna call ourselves Great Britain. You feel me? And the English people are settlers that came into around their geographic after the ice age. So they some niggas that came out of nowhere and popped up over in Europe. That's why they say it was black motherfuckers and shit like that over in Europe prior to these people because these people were settlers, the English. Okay, after the ice age, and they were called Anglo-Saxon. Okay, and the date is 400 to 800 BCE. Okay, so they have somewhere where they come from as a nomadic tribe of motherfuckers from the 11 tribes of Canaan or wherever these motherfuckers come from, but they're settling in there and then they're claiming these geographics. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't from that spot, they were settlers that migrated because they were trying to get away from the Roman motherfuckers. They were trying to withdraw from whatever Rome was trying to put on these type of people, whoever these people were, the Anglo-Saxons, and they said, "Man, I'm getting the fuck out of here." And they ended up in England, in that area, 400 to 800 BCE, right? What we call modern day Germany, Netherlands, and Denmark. Those areas is where these English people so-called ran to. These are Anglo-Saxons, should I say. These Anglo-Saxons ran in. So Germans is linked to Anglo-Saxon, Netherlands is linked to Anglo-Saxon, and Denmark motherfuckers is linked to Anglo-Saxon. Now you even have to go back further to say who the fuck is these Anglo-Saxon niggas, right? But to go further, into England or the Union of Great Britain, because that's what we're talking about, and how the fuck they became the people that run the laws of the sea, because that's who the mama is. They became mama a long time ago, Great Britain and them. Basically, when the United States got with the Revolutionary War time and all that, Great Britain and them was the niggas who was considered the mama, right? All the shipping shit and the trade and what's going on in the waters and all that. They were pirates, like basically. But I'm gonna show y'all how the connection is crazy, right? So walk with me. So boom, the motherfucking Great Britain, England, these niggas, like I said, they all linked together, Ireland, Wales, and all that. But they come from settlers, like I said, from the Anglo-Saxon, which is in the spots of Germany, Netherlands, and Denmark today. That's where they settled at, right? In the east and the south regions, basically, what we call in them areas, right? And so there was the Celts was there, who was basically linked to the Romans. There was indigenous Romania people that was already there, right? So Romanian British they call them or whatever, but they mixed in with settlers. You know what I'm saying? Like high level Celts that their ancestry had went back, before motherfuckers even came over there. So it's some type of Celtic motherfuckers on the motherfucking west and north sides of these geographics, right? Mixed in with the Great Brittany niggas, blah, blah, blah. And then Later invasions came from Vikings. Later invasions came from Vikings. So the Vikings got in. Vikings means six kings. And if you know anything about the Vikings, let's start doing the history to the Vikings, who are basically Danish, Norse motherfuckers that they was on their what was it? The Norman conquest or some shit like that. We know Norman is synonymous to normal, where you get to repeat and do things over and over again to have a psychological mental disorder. And these were the Vikings who were like a savage motherfuckers that ran up over there, took over shit, started doing their barbaric, whatever the fuck tough shit they was on. The Viking niggas. So Viking niggas is down with the Great Britain shit, right? Because they got down, their family mixed in with all of this Great Britain, Wales, and all this other shit. And this is why they ruled the goddamn sea, became the mama because of the Viking niggas. You dig what I'm saying? You can see now how Great Britain got its power of running the goddamn sea, because they was fucking with Viking niggas in their blood. They got the Viking shit in them. The six kings. You heard? So overstand. The shipping wars is real. What's going on in the current is real. You got to see where you at in the current. Like I said, they stripped you of all the real currency, which was the precious metals and all the elements that came from within the earth. Because as we used to live a certain way, you know what I'm saying? And gold chairs, gold streets, gold cities, and all this other shit we had over here in America. The seven cities of Clavero and all that shit is over here in the Americas. Gold cities. We talking about crazy, dope, ill ass shit. We've been doing that type of shit, but we knew about the elements and we knew that that shit held memory. So even if we didn't motherfucking write shit down, I could leave you my gold crown. So if I got a son and I rock a gold crown the whole time he growing up, and I'm giving him jewels and we building, all my energy is going into the ground because it's conducting, right? Because I'm putting this shit on every day and I got my gold and I'm rocking my gold, right? So when I pass my crown down to my son and I pass away, all my memory is trapped inside the goddamn crown. So if he want to tap into his father, all he gotta do is put the crown on. The same way your grandmother leave you a ring. Why you think your grandmother be like, "Here, baby, I got this ring. This was my old ring I had from 19. When I first did my first date for my," and she give it to you. It's because all her energy is in the goddamn ring. Lord of the Rings. You see me? You feel me? Smell me? So these things conduct energy. You dig what I'm saying? So when we was rocking all that gold, we was in our higher self. You feel me? We got stripped of all our gold. They stripped us of all our memory. You can't remember shit. You dig what I'm saying? So we got to get back to the state of gold. That's why you got to have a heart of gold. You know what I'm saying? To develop a heart of gold on the planet. You know what I mean? What you think the pirates was after? What you think the Vikings this shit was after? They was after the gold. What you think God of the Bible was after? He came here and saw that the gold was good. Why the fuck do God need gold? Did y'all even question yourself and ask yourself that? Why would God need gold if God is the Almighty, omnipotent, don't need shit, did all this other shit? Why the fuck he need good gold? Because it obviously got to be bad gold. Because he said the gold was good. So in order to have good, you got to have bad. But why would God be satisfied about good gold? Where he was at, he was in the first country that we ever found in the Bible was Ethiopia. Ethiopia was all of this shit. That's why. You feel me? It wasn't just over there in Africa. It was all this shit. Kush. You feel me? But that's another one to grow on. You know what I'm saying? It's been another galactic glorious day of Oshunic love Friday, holy day energy. I hope everybody is traveling in harmony, safe and well, let's get the babies in order, you know what I mean? And tap into the current now, know the value of their currency. You are the motherfucking gold, you are the motherfucking diamond, you know what I mean? In the rough, all that shit, you heard? So you gotta understand that you possess all of that and you gotta let that shit shine. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, tap back into that on a realistic level and start buying up gold and jewelry and shit like that. But get the real shit. You can't be buying the false, fakey, watered down metal shit. Because that's what they got going on right now. They know they need the pure shit, because it holds memory. They got all the ancient gold. You dig what I'm saying? All that shit. If you got the ancient shit, then you got all the shit with all the fucking memory in it. Why you think they was raiding tombs and doing shit like that, bro? But long story short, that's just one to grow on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been another galactic glorious day. Y'all travel in harmony. Peace. We going out with a banger, man. Fuck it. You know how we do. I got for you. Peace.
Cycle end, the sun cycle started, getting the devil's last chance to whisper in the hearts of men. I hear him talk to them, saying, don't praise him. People listening, thinking that it won't faze them. Praying on weaklings, transform them to demons. Created a fallen legion across the region, all to mislead him down fucked up roads. He wants a soul for this big ass beast, he gotta feed him. He right there in front of you and y'all don't see him. Showing signs before your eyes, y'all can't read them. Let me tell you what he did to my man last weekend. My dude found out that his girl was cheating. Blacked out, spazzed out, gave his girl a beating. So bad her nose was bleeding, there was no more breathing. See, he just used the lust to disrupt the trust. It gets up in us and it fucks with us, tempting us with pleasures of this world, offering us treasures and pearls. But he's a liar. Look up in the sky, you can see the fire of the bright morning star called Lucifer. Humbumba was that man Pops. He was raised in a land of a ram's eye, with disagreeable beams, quick to make it seem like he knows things. You see night of the living dead when you see those fiends. Drunk addicts and junkies scattered amongst the country. Our mothers made us mad, but today she doesn't want me. She'd rather have the devil's company. Instead of singing me a song, she's nodding out with needles in her arm. While we don't see the wrong, we commit from our own acts. Ignorance is sin, and we shown that through the course of time. But we are not the ones in control. There's way more forces that's divine. You ever think why evil thoughts cross your mind? Just cause it's there, you don't gotta go and cross that line. Cause once it's done and done, you can't talk back time. My man pulled out a gun on me, dusted out his mind. He looked into my eyes and said he want the breath of ill. Gabriel possessed him, told him that it was best to kill. Angels protected my body like an extra shield. Somehow I made it home that day, escaped death for real. Halal want me real bad, cause I don't fuck with him no more. I guess the nigga real mad, cause I know the truth of all what it is. I ain't one of Lucifer's kids, I'm God's son, a strong one who won't break for him. And I don't hate on him, you know why? Cause we all one, yo, yo, yo. Devil's reign is up on earth. For all those that don't know, yo. Devil's reign is up on earth. For real, the 6,000-year reign is over. Devil's reign is up on earth. Yeah, we 2003 had opened up the vortex and all that. Up on earth. You heard? 213 is coming around again. You heard? Get ready, 2013. You know what I'm saying? The rebirth. Yeah, all those that's ready to, you know what I mean? Travel to that higher plane of consciousness and all that. Overtake me, devil's reign is up. Yo, halal. Michael L. and all of us is here, you feel me? 24 elders and all that. Rich poor, 144,000 chosen. Yeah, that's us.